have fun tonight, you should quit right now and find a new job. That was just an elite level physicality, bloodbath, competitive, just incredible performance after incredible performance going down the line. A great game, and it's just like, how fun is this SEC league going to be? I mean, just as incredible. So congratulations to Florida. They've had an incredible start to the season. They have big-time players that are really competing at a high level, and guys that are really they're really dialed into their particular role on that team. And I couldn't be more proud of our guys. They just battled and battled and battled, and sometimes we're not great, but these guys got so much fight in them and so much together in them and so much resilience. It's a really fun team to coach. And you know, the only sad thing for me is we only get 17 more of these. It feels like I already get sad thinking we only get to do this 17 more times in this regular season. So we're going to try and enjoy every second of it.
Mark, what did you think the way that Andrew Carr kind of finished the game for you? He had a rough first half offensively, maybe a little bit on the defensive end, but came up big when you needed him.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew's, like, you know, you go down these lines, it's pretty incredible. You think about Andrews, you know, he's 50% from the field. He's 40% from the three-point line. He's 5 assists, 0 turnovers. He's playing, you know, we spent the last several minutes of the game switching 1 through 5, had ridiculously difficult defensive responsibilities. I thought he was terrific. And you know, what's nice is you know, with us moving Andrew around, you could see that Florida had to be responsive in the lineups they were choosing to put on the floor because they were trying to deal with Andrew down the stretch. And that's really impactful. It's a good feeling as a coach when you know that the other side has to kind of jockey a little bit to figure out what they can do lineup-wise. It might not be the lineup or the positioning that they want to have on the floor for a bunch of reasons, but it's the one they have to have on the floor to handle Andrew Carr. And that's a pretty good feeling. It talks about his, you know, incredible effect on the game.
Marcus, 16-0 run and 2 10-0 runs. Other than the simplicity of making shots and getting stops, what goes into something like that? What does a team need to have runs like that against a team like this?
Well, to have the first run, you need Ortega Oweh. I'll tell you what, you know what, it's just, guys, it's the most humbling thing in the world to watch these guys grow. And so it just, and the game is such an incredible teacher. And so Ortega's first rotation was a little shorter than normal. He was out before the first media, and he sat for a little while. And he was coming off a game where he didn't love it. And then he refused to allow any of that to affect his intensity or his drive. And so then he came back in, and you know, we were a little bit sideways and couldn't kind of find a rhythm. And he was like, "You guys just relax, man. I'm come find all of your rhythm for you." And then with the later runs, I think it has a lot to do with you know, just listen. I mean, Florida's a great team, so sometimes I'm just talking about our team right now. You know, I'm a big believer, it's going to sound soft, but I'm a big believer that all my guys snuck into Chris's apartment after celebrating his birthday to go scare him and surprise him. You know, my guy that's, you know, struggling right now because he can't play right now and it's killing him, they all snuck into his apartment like little kids to go surprise him. And I actually think those runs come from a group like that. I really do. I think it comes from being together, and these guys are working so hard to be together as much as they can. And I think that's probably the most important ingredient.
And Mark, I was going to ask about Ortega before you said that. Of all the personalities on your team, he seems like the one who's the first to say, "You know what, enough of this.
Yeah.
I'm fixing this." Is that accurate?
Yeah, he is. It's interesting because when you guys talk to him, he's just the most soft-spoken guy ever, isn't he? But he has a competitive fire in him that burns really, really deep. And what he's doing this season is just incredible. You know, Ortega's interesting because Ortega breaks some of our rules. And he's one of those guys where from time to time I just have to close my eyes and look away and don't change it and just accept it, like this is just Ortega being Ortega. And he's done that for us a lot this year, and the contribution he's making to this team and the way he's leading and the joy that he brings to our guys is really special.
Mark, how do you kind of summarize the value of Kobe, being able to have a Kobe to bring from off the bench?
How fun is it to watch Kobe Bryant in the second half go, what was he, 6 for 7? Something crazy like that. Where's Kobe? 7 for 9. And just like off the bounce, it's interesting. We work so hard to create shots for Kobe, and Kobe kind of comes off an action that we think is so creative, and then he stops and he lets the defense recover, and because he just wants to go off the bounce, he just wants to shoot off the bounce. But he was magical tonight, wasn't he? And I don't know, you're hard pressed to make a real cogent argument that he's not the best shooter in the country. It's ridiculous. The way he shoots it, how he gets it off, where he shoots it, how high he shoots it. And he was, clearly, he was massively important for us. He was also another huge catalyst in those runs. And, we had to kind of, we had some fatigue on the floor and kind of had to go with some, makeshift, some makeshift lineups, maybe that were a little heavier on different guys than traditionally we do. And Kobe was just like, don't worry, I got it. I'm just going to make shots. He was spectacular. He's also growing immensely on the defensive end. He's also like the most beautiful kid you're ever going to meet, man. He's special.
With the runs and the crowd and the switch of momentum, it felt like a game from 30 years ago with you guys playing Arkansas or something.
Yeah.
This place was different today, was it not?
Well, I told the staff, I told the staff, we were just meeting for a second before we met with the guys after the game, and I just told them, I'm like, I'm so happy for you guys because they're going to be able to now start to connect the experience of being in this gym with a real experience they're having. And, when I walk into this gym and it's totally dead silent, and there's no one here and the lights are out, which I love to do, that's all I hear is what we heard today, because I got to live it for so long. And I'm just really grateful that my guys, the guys on this team and my staff, they're going to learn that. And it is nowhere like it. BBN was ridiculous tonight. I mean, how fun was that to be in that gym? It was pretty special.
Coach, in the back. You said earlier this week that the SEC would teach you a lot about yourselves. What did you learn today?
We learned that we got to get a lot more physical. We learned that we got to, it's going to be like a life or death fight on the boards every single night. We learned that we're going to have to be really creative, changing the way we guard throughout the game, which our players were unbelievable in receiving adjustments during the course of the game. We learned that it's just incredibly talented guys. Like, there was a minute there where I was like, Elijah Martin might not miss another shot for the rest of his life. He was unbelievable. And we had one coach saying, we got to force him inside the 3, and the other coach saying, he just made 3 straight 2s. And it's just, he was absolutely terrific. And so we're learning how fun this is. I think that's the overwhelming thing for us is like, we only get to do this 17 more times. And so we can't waste a minute, man. And I hope BBN doesn't miss a second of it. And it's going to be great times and hard times, but they're all going to be growing times. And that's why it's so fun to play in this league.
How does it feel to get your first SEC win as a Kentucky head coach?
I actually don't know. I hadn't considered that. I'm so happy. The one thing that you learn when you've been coaching for a little while is that it just doesn't really have much to do with us. I mean, this is about this community and these players growing and learning, and the fact that we get to be here and bear witness is unbelievable. It's really special.
Mark, you mentioned physicality a second ago. I know not every team will pose the unique challenges that Florida did, but you guys did get hit pretty hard on the glass, offensive rebounding, second chance points tonight. How do you go about adjusting and kind of combating that, and also what are the challenges of doing that in season on the Tuesday, Saturday schedule? Yeah,
so it's a beautiful thing, this league, because tonight it's on the glass. On Tuesday it's going to be something else that's really exploited, and this league is just going to kind of needle any space where you're not the best in the country. Florida is the second best rebounding team in the country right now, and our guys we hung in there is probably the best way we can say it. We really hung in there. It's also, over the last 6 games, they're the #1 analytical half-court defense in the entire country. And our guys were 25 assists and 6 turnovers. Like that number, guys, is, I was going to say breathtaking, but Leanne gets mad at me when I say breathtaking. That number is insane. There's 25 assists, 6 turnovers against the #1 defensive team in a half court in the country over the last 6 games. That's crazy. And so, this is what you want. You just want to go against the biggest challenge. You want to go against the best teams. This is an undefeated team. What are they ranked? 6 or 7 or 5 something? And another top 10 matchup, and it just makes you get better. So, in regards to rebounding, we're going to get first we're going to get in the training room, try and get healed up. Then we get in the weight room, and then we get in the film room and try and figure out some different things schematically and habit-wise that we can do. But the one thing I'm not worried about is our guys' fight. Our guys' fight is there.
Coach, this team now has 3 wins over top 10 programs. What can you talk about this team's ability to show up in the big-time games?
They love it. They love it. And every day we're learning to love each other a little bit more. And just the opportunity to compete. There's nothing better. Like, you only get to do this for a little time in your life, to just compete like this. And our guys are falling in love with competing. They're falling in love with it. I don't think they're scared. I don't think they spend a ton of time stressing or fretting about outcome. I think they're doing a terrific job about as best as anybody can about staying in the moment and just competing on this possession. And then when we do get sideways, somebody else steps up and be like, no, I'll be present right now. And I think our guys are doing a great job of that.
Mark, down here. December, there was some inconsistent offensive performances, but 106 points in your first SEC game. Just how promising of a sign is that going forward?
I would like to do that every game. I don't know how. I don't know if we're going to be 14 for 29 every game. The 29 is the part I'm super happy about. It's been really hard for us to get close to 30, but we have a bunch of guys stepping up. You think about us offensively. Think about Amari Williams tonight. He's 6 for 7 from the field. He's 5 assists. You think about our starting 4 and 5. They're 10 assists, 1 turnover. Like, that's insane. And as a group, our starting 4 and 5 is 10 for 15 from the field. And so offensively, what those guys are delivering right now in terms of playmaking, there was 5 games ago, Amari really dug into this idea of, like, I'm not turning the ball over anymore. Like, I'm gonna get on top of he had just gone underwater on assist to turnover ratio. It was under a 1-to-1, and he hasn't had more than 1 turnover in a game in the last 6 games now. He's a 5-1, and offensively, those kind of things are the markers that keep us. We won't be 14 for 29 every night, but if we can protect the ball like this against the #1 half-court defensive team in the country, and if we can share the ball like we did with 25 assists, it's going to bode well for our offense every single night.
Mark, down here. So you speak on Amari Williams' play. He was in foul trouble for most of the game. What do you take from a performance like that when he's in foul trouble? How hard is it for someone to do something like that when in foul trouble?
Well, I think Ruben was what made the game hard. I mean, he's a monster. Like, this number 9. I'm going to say his name wrong, so forgive me, Ruben Chinelu. But he is. You talk about, like, what a special player. Because he walks onto the floor and he actually is not distracted by any other agenda than just doing what he does great. And what he does great is he moves bodies. I mean, it's incredible. He was a bully tonight, and so I thought that was probably the biggest challenge that Amari faced foul-wise. But I think, is this true, Deb? I think Amari still never fouled out of a game in his whole career. Is that true? So, this is probably a little bit more of an anomaly foul-wise for him.